Yeah, yeah. But I think he just got up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe Steve Lambert will calm him down and talk to him. Steve's a balloonist, though, so he's real quiet. What does he care?
I can speak.
How you doing?
I didn't see all of that. But the reason I didn't have, I didn't have.
It's just a sham.
Let me ask you this: did they ever give you an appraisal of your air rights?
2,600.
No, I mean, did they give you the physical appraisal? You need to get
See here. See here. That chimney. They got down. See here on this right here. There's one chimney, and then there's the other one right here. But they didn't put it on here. See there?
right.
And then on this one here, right there, none here.
Okay.
So then this, it's not, it's supposed to be, I can't go up on this side. You see level 779.
Right.
But then my chimney is
It's higher than
82.
Okay.
But for some reason they left that out.
So
You see what they're doing?
right.
Trying to walk over me and just take it.
But if you're only getting $2,600, to me that doesn't sound near enough, regardless of the chimney.
My house is worth nothing. Buy that house, it's worth nothing.
Right.
And show you another deal they pulled. That company that they've employed a lawyer against us. Back to in May. Went back last year. I don't know exactly. I can't remember my mind, my age. But I'm 79 years old.
Right.
My wife is 79. We said what we need to do, take everything out of our names, put in our kids' names.
Good idea.
So I did that. My son, his wife was in the hospital. They didn't expect her to live. But then they had insurance. But then they couldn't pay it off.
Right.
So then when I put the house, and I didn't even know this. I didn't even know he owed it. Because he had insurance, but he never talked with us or whatever. So now that lawyer now has included them in the lawsuit and getting judgment to pay the hospital. His part.
Because his name's on your title.
Yeah.
Hang on just a second.
So what I did last
Okay.
week, I went and changed it back into my
And
name.
your name,
Yeah.
of course.
So let them.
Right.
Everybody gather around. We're going to be getting started. Just a second. We'll get started back.
Tommy,
Yes, sir.
and can I talk to you about getting that petition to the people?
What now?
Will you send out a petition?
I'm not sending no petition out, because I don't want to. You send a petition. You want me to close the airport? I'm not closing the airport. I think that's your state. I'll be glad to talk to you, Mr. President. We'd love to. Love to talk to you. Not just
that. I was sure you were coming back in. You hadn't even got to the hospital.
Well, so about 7:30.
We can't decide.
When we getting started, everybody gather around and get a seat. We call the meeting back to order. We're on item number 10A, number 2015-007, first reading, ordinance authorizing the execution of one or more incentive agreements by and among Adams County, South Carolina, and company known to the county as Project Owl, and one or more existing or to be formed or required subsidiaries or affiliated or related entities as sponsor to provide for a fee in lieu of advance lowering taxes incentive to provide for the inclusion of the project in the multi-county business industrial park, to provide for special source revenue credits, to provide for the additional of one or more sponsor affiliates and others matters related thereto. Mr. Burris Nelson.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, thank you for this opportunity to present this opportunity for jobs creation and capital investment. This project, Project Owl, is a 40-year-old international Tier 1 automotive supplier. This is a project that was brought to us by the South Carolina Department of Commerce. It looks like the project will run from June 5th of 2015 in construction to June of 2016, bringing 49 new jobs with an average hourly pay $15.26 an hour, an approximate annual payroll of $1,495,000. A total capital investment of $11,125,000. This is a offer of a fee in lieu of taxes 6% assessment ratio, 30-year agreement with a 10-year extension. The first SSRC for the first 4 years is 90%, 80% for years 5 through 10, 50% for years 11 through 20. The first year property tax on the property itself, as it stands today, was paid out $3,953. The first year that the project will be on the ground in 2016, the taxes will apply to property only and will pay $4,875. However, succeeding years pay substantially more. 30-year agreement, the projected taxes would be $1,809,000. The community impact for the first year, $7,710,000. 20-year impact is $51,180,000. This information comes to council as a recommendation from staff and the Economic Development Advisory Board, and we respectfully request you give favorable consideration to this project.
Thanks. We have a motion.
Moved.
Second. Mr. Allen, second. Ms. Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item B, 2015-009, ordinance authorizing the sale of certain property in Alliance Park in accordance with a certain agreement to purchase and sale land, purchase agreement by and between Adams County, South Carolina, the county, and the company known to the county as Project Owl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. This is an ordinance that will be selling the property that we had originally designated as our spec building, and after Mr. Crowder's continued request about being sure that we got the spec building sold before it was even constructed, we've done so, and this project will be taking the site where the spec building would be located. Project Owl.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mr. Wilson.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Crowder. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Allen.
If I could, I'd just like to reemphasize what Mr. Nelson said about the spec building, because I had always kind of been a fan of the virtual spec building, although all the experts tell me that doesn't work. Well, we did even better than that this time. Didn't even put a building up, just had a piece of property, and it's being sold. So Congratulations on the spec buildings, all I can say. Way to go. Thanks, Burris.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Waters.
What else can you say except the fine job you guys are doing? It's a pleasure to work with you, and you know, there were a lot of skeptical people about this, that it wouldn't happen, and it did. So we can just look forward to the next one. Appreciate all you do and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so motion carries unanimously. Mr. Nelson. Moving on now to item number.
Thank you.
Thank you. 10C. 15-0110, ordinance amending chapter 53 of the Code of Ordinances of Anderson County, South Carolina, as to add Article 4 pertaining to the solicitation of funds on roads and streets. The matter is related thereto. I put this in form of a motion. Second, Ms. Wilson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 11A, number 2015-010, a resolution expressing county consent to adjustment, abandonment, and closure of a portion of Wigfall Drive designated as C-06-0090 and a portion of Furman Road designated as C-06-0089 and other matters related thereto. This will be a public hearing. Anyone wishing to step forward to this and speak to this matter, please do so now. State your name, district, and address the chair. Anyone at all? None, vote hearing to be closed. Toppins?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I just want to kind of real quickly make sure council understands what we're talking about. This is up at near exit 27, Highway 81 and I-85. Here's an aerial photo of where a map of where we're talking about. Exit 27 is right up in the top right corner here. Wigfall, and I'll show you a picture here in a minute. Wigfall is nothing but a dirt and gravel road. There's one bridge on it that's probably at least 30 or 40 years old. There's a culvert right at the beginning of this closure at the dotted line that we put in about 10 years ago. But other than that, we've had to hold it together, and let me just show you real quick what I mean by that. That was taken about 6 or 8 months ago before we put any gravel on it. I mean, it's really literally coming apart. The sections that we're talking about closing is nothing more than a path, basically. We do have some significant right-of-way on the sections that we're looking at closing, because we went to the Threet family, and not knowing what might come of this, we thought there might be a residential subdivision, so we asked them for a 66-foot right-of-way. They gave it to us. That's the only reason we have that much right-of-way here. We're not proposing closing the ends on the far left here. Those are houses at the far end on the left. Furman Road, there is a house right inside where we were planning on closing, but it is also owned by the Threets and will be vacant within just a few more weeks. We've posted these two roads for 30 days in accordance with our ordinance. We've met the requirements of a state law abandonment as well as county council's ordinance on the procedure. The whole reason for this is going back to the property map. I think Mr. Burris Nelson is doing all he can to to get an industry to locate on that Threet property, which the two roads kind of chop up the property. So they're wanting a one big large tract of property that they can promote to an industry. We see no need to keep it open. I think the jobs would be much better. So this request is actually coming from us, county staff, with the purpose of an economic development prospect. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Anyone have any questions, comment?
Just a comment, maybe.
Ms. Wilson?
Actually, those very substandard roads are mostly along the more level land or the ridges, which would be more desirable for construction. So this would allow less cost for road maintenance, and it would answer a need particularly for a special industry maybe looking at that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I've driven that road with great trepidation, wondering if I was going to break an axle or something. But if you go off Shackleford, it kind of runs around Brookstone Golf Course a little bit. And I noticed in the write-up here, it said it was estimated there's like 20 cars per day use that road. I won't doubt your figures, but I would be surprised if 20 cars a month use that road. And if they do, they probably have to go in the shop the next day.
We must have counted it when the water company was going in there to check it out.
Because it's pretty grim. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Crowder, second by Mr. Waters. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Those like signs, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to 11B, R 2015-013, a resolution authorizing involvement of Anderson County in workforce development activities, including Oconee and Pickens counties for implementation of the Workplace Innovation and Opportunity Act of 2014. I'd like to introduce WorkLink CEO here tonight, Mr. Trent Acker. Answer any questions or any comments. Appreciate him coming out tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for consideration.
Do you have any comments you'd like to make, Mr. Acker, before we move on?
Just very briefly, just want to thank you again for consideration of the resolution. And what this really does is allow us to continue to work as we have to serve these three counties as a workforce area. Thank you to the leadership of Anderson County and your colleagues in Pickens and Oconee County. We continue to serve, as Mr. Pellissier pointed out earlier today, with a little over $1.5 million in this plan year to serve those that are unemployed through no fault of their own, whether they're youth, dislocated workers, or otherwise find themselves in that position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Acker? Have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Crowder, second, Mr. Cole. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like signs. I say the motion carries unanimously. Appreciate it, Mr. Acker. Thank you very much
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
for all y'all do. Moving on to item number 11C, R 2015-014, a resolution authorizing Anderson County's legal counsel to file the necessary legal documents requesting that the appeals case of Anderson County versus Joey R. Preston be dismissed and other matters related thereto. Ms. Forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The resolution reads, whereas the initiation of Anderson County's lawsuit against the former county administrator Joey R. Preston and its subsequent appeal of the Circuit Court's decision has fiscally affected Anderson County government operations. The county's marketability for positive economic stature and its ability to attract newcomers to our county, and whereas the appeal remains a divisive issue which results in dissension among county officials and its citizens, taxpayers that prefer to move Anderson County forward in an effort to improve the current economic and financial growth, both individually and as a community, and whereas the county's judiciary stated in its order that the claim were more of a vendetta than a legitimate matter, and its legal interpretation supports that opinion. And whereas the continued funding of this litigation has correlated consequences, the cause and effects has postponed various vital county projects such as road improvements, building repairs, and maintenance, as well as hampered the county's ability to adequately compensate its employees and retain the county's workforce with tenure and experienced staff, providing the level of services citizens and taxpayers desire and deserve. And whereas the litigation and/or appeal process has cost Anderson County and its taxpayer an enormous amount of money, the lawsuit today has accumulated a total cost to the county of $3,096,993.34. Let me repeat that, make sure I got it right. $3,096,993.34. And whereas Anderson County has paid in this fiscal year alone, from July 1, 2014 until March 10, 2015, a total so far of $88,064.33. At that pace, and if council continues to pursue the matter to year end, which is June the 30th, that figure has the potential to cost the county an additional $38,985. And whereas Anderson County has depleted county funds and spending as of March 20, 2015, of $3,096,993 of hard-working taxpayers' dollars. This amount rises daily by an estimate cost of $348 per day in an effort to recover $1.14 million. And whereas the appeal interferes and has played a part in delaying needed projects due to lack of necessary funding, which in some cases means reduced services to our citizens and taxpayers, and whereas the appeal portrays a negative image over Anderson County and its citizens throughout the state, and it is widely known that Anderson County has spent over $3 million in an attempt to recover $1.14 million. At this point, the litigation only benefits the party's legal counsel. And whereas the appeal has the potential to impede the economic recruitment of our county as we continue to fight over past issues. And whereas neither Anderson County government nor the people of Anderson County will benefit from any potential court decision or outcome, the likelihood of any recovery, even if the appeal were successful, will be a negative return on the investment. And whereas the appeal process continues to exhaust the county's fund, and additional time spent on this case would be fruitless. And whereas Anderson County Council should make a conscious effort to move forward with the goals and objectives that County Council developed at the council retreat, establishing its strategic growth and long-range plan, as well as the vision of Spotlight Anderson County and its tremendous value to the upstate and to the state of South Carolina. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Anderson County Council that the Anderson County Council develop, prepare, and file the necessary legal document that set forth the county's desire to immediately withdraw its appeal and halt any further action. This resolution shall take effect and be enforced immediately upon enactment. Mr. Chair, that ends the resolution, but I want to say that it's time for us to move on. We are dealing here with stuff that happened God knows how many years ago. They are saying that we are crazy. They are saying, what is going on with y'all in Anderson County? I have made no attempt to contact any of these people up here to ask them to vote for this or against it, because I figured that it's up to each one of us to decide what we're going to do for the taxpayers of Anderson County. A lady got up and spoke today, and she says something about justice, and she kept saying justice and justice. But I'm asking, whose justice? Justice was already served when we all went to court, and we all talked to Judge Crouch, we all talked to him. We all told him we told him everything. He ruled. His ruling was justice, but it wasn't the justice that some people wanted. They want another kind of justice. But if each month we are spending more and more money, this case was supposed to have gone to court in the month of March. Now they tell us it's going to be the month of May. Maybe it might. Who is getting satisfaction from this kind of thing? It's not us. All we doing is paying the money. Paying the money. I think it's time. I think it's time to put this to rest. Now, I heard some comments as I was coming into the building today. As I was coming to the building up in here, I heard some comments about this. And I know that some of you have already got your actions together, already have your game plan together, but just remember, you are hurting Anderson County. You are hurting the taxpayers of Anderson County. You have people that want to keep this going. Like the lady said, that we should pay our own money to have it going. I say the people who want to keep this going should take up a collection to pay for it to go on. Then we'll see how bad they want it to go on. This is tiresome. We don't hear much about it in the newspaper. Yeah, how much more time do I have? Thank you. We don't read about it in the newspaper. But if we did, do you think we would have many companies coming in? This has the potential of stopping the growth of Anderson County. Because these people are going to think, if they're going to spend $3 million to go after $1 million, is this the place we want to be? Mr. Chairman, I put my resolution in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Mr. Cole, any discussion? Ms. Wilson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you read the resolution, it doesn't quite match what has taken place currently in the life of our county. Right now, we understand that Anderson County is ranked 7th in the United States for economic development. Look at tonight's agenda and you heard some of the projects. Every census continues to reveal population increases with new residents. When the County Council of 09 took their seats in January, we walked into what amounts to a scorched and salted earth state of finances in our county. The outgoing County Council had dumped approximately $29 million of new debt, new bond debt, within the previous 12 months to their leaving. They even failed to budget a $500,000 debt service payment that was due in April of 09. Tax revenues were down, foreclosures were up, the Great Recession was on. Lawsuits were filed against us to prevent inquiries, audits, and investigations. We found that the previous administrator had shackled us to millions of dollars of new consulting contracts, including multiple lobbyists, $1 million plus or minus annually for attorneys. Now it's around $400,000 to $500,000 a year, including the current item referred to in the resolution. There were 25% salary increases given to pet employees as that group left the door. Consulting contracts to individuals have questionable qualifications were given even to Ron Wilson's daughter from Spartanburg. It appears his and the former administrator's quid pro quo arrangements began within 2 months of his arrival on council in '07. All the issues that Wilson had campaigned against, suddenly, mysteriously, he was for. Another issue was our enterprise funds were especially sewer, were deep in the red, and millions of dollars of transfers were required at the end of each year. From mid-04 till the new council moved in 09, there was little economic development in the midst of the boom. South Carolina Department of Commerce indicated to us in a visit to Columbia in September of '09, in the middle of the recession by then, that they had written Anderson County off for business. A major industrial contact told me the same. Read the Daniel report if you want more detail as to how some of that came about. It's available at the library, or you can pick one up here at the council offices. With this backdrop, consider why your local newspaper, the daily paper, failed to demand that their former publisher, Fred Foster, Cord Seabrook, convicted felon Eric Bradshaw, and the Monteperas drop their lawsuit against the county. They lost in the circuit court, and they lost before the South Carolina Supreme Court. Why didn't you say stop then? The Michael Cunningham case lost, I believe, at the local level, and it's at appeal level. Why didn't you admonish him to stop? It's his right to go to court just as it is ours. Curiously, can you explain why Beatty Ashmore, the court-appointed receiver in the Ron Wilson Ponzi scheme, is the same attorney Mr. Preston hired to sue me? Is he going easy on Mr. Preston in light of that? Consider this. Failing to win an appeal in our current challenge with the former administrator sets bad precedents for the future of the council administrative form of government under the State Enabling Act. It would encourage rogue administrators to hire themselves mistresses at public expense and then sue any council member who would question expenditures and policies to render them unable to vote and to represent their constituents. Remember, public money and resources were used by the former administrator to sue me and intimidate a lot of people. He even filed ethics complaints against me, or had friends to do it for him. He even arranged at public expense a political action committee called the Anderson County Taxpayers Association to be formed with my opponent in that election to be named as agent. I think about $15,000 of your money was spent on that. Is that legal? If you go point by point in this resolution, you will find that this county and its people have moved way beyond this resolution's allegations. In fact, with our ranking in the nation and all the many wonderful things that companies and business people have to say about our county, and that includes all of you, we wouldn't be so well known and so well perceived if it weren't for our good citizens and the teamwork we have now. Debt service is paid down, salary increases are already in place, not to mention that our insurance and benefits packages for our employees are probably among the best in the state. And since funding for roads dropped dramatically in 2003 on, we now, as you just heard in the supplemental budget, additional funds are going to that. We now have more money for roads and bridges. So you also have to ask about the timing of this resolution when the former administrator was required to present to court, I guess in Greenville, why he cannot pay back the Ponzi money that he took. The last offered settlement to this county before the last vote was in the neighborhood of $800,000. Would that money be used to go pay off his debt using public money again to pay off something else? Are you willing to do that? I'm not. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Riley? Hold it down.
Oh, I thought that applause was for me because I was going to say something. Shoot. Okay, just a couple of things. We've heard a lot up here tonight, and a lot of what's been stated is true. But I will say that 5 years ago, when this case began, I voted against it. I caught a good bit of grief for that. I was not judging Mr. Preston. I was not voting for or against him. That's up to the court to do that. I was judging the case on the charges made, and I felt the charges placed against him, the 11 counts, were very weak and were not sufficient to overturn what occurred on November 18th, 2008. I just didn't feel it would do it. That's why I voted against it. To date, it has cost the county just over $3 million to pursue it. Not pursuing this case would have saved us $3 million. That, as was stated, we could have used on roads, building repair, or whatever. But we also have to consider that several people have mentioned tonight the Ponzi scheme, the moral turpitude, etc. Those cannot be adjudicated by the appeals court. That's not part of the charges. The only thing the appeals court can look at is the 11 counts against Mr. Preston that were placed there during the court back in November of 2013. So all they can do is review what Judge Couch said. Forget Ponzi scheme. There's no evidence of that at this point in time. Forget moral turpitude. That's over and done with. That's not part of this case. So you may not like it, but it's not going to be reviewed by the appellate court. However, to drop the suit right now would be, in my opinion, detrimental to the county. And here's why. Dropping would now allow Mr. Preston's attorneys to go back to Judge Couch and say, okay, we want the legal fees now. Judge Couch has left that door open. All right? And I have heard numbers between $700,000 and $750,000. Don't ask me where those numbers came from. I've heard them from various sources that might be what they ask for legal fees. At that point, we would, I believe, have little or no recourse at that time because we have agreed to drop the case. That's not beneficial to Anderson County. I really don't want to pay out another $750,000. That's not to our benefit. Rumors, yeah, as I said, that number of $750,000 is rumor, but the judge has left that door open for his attorneys to go in and ask for it, and you can bet they're going to go back and ask for legal fees. By dropping the case now, too, this could well create something else that would happen. Mr. Preston's attorneys could then turn around and file a wrongful lawsuit against the county. What's to stop them from doing that? What's to stop them from filing suits against us individually, perhaps? That's not a good thing either. So here we go through another legal struggle if that was to happen. Just more money, more money. There's also the specter of the Ponzi scheme that's looming out there on the horizon.
1 minute.
You want to extend?
Yep. Make a motion to extend 5 minutes.
Second.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Those motion carries unanimously. Mr. Allen.
And I'm just about finished here. There's also the specter of the Ponzi scheme looming over all of this, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. We don't know how it's going to affect this case right now. There's just too many things hanging out there that are questionable. So at this time, and for the above reasons that I just gave you, I can't vote to simply drop the case and possibly cause the county to have to pay high legal fees and then maybe face a wrongful lawsuit on top of that could be filed against the county. There will have to be a better way to do this. So that's all I have to say about it, but just keep in mind on the legal aspect too, very, very, very seldom will a court ever overturn the vote of a legal authorized body, such as a council, unless it has been proven that there's actual hardcore criminal activity of some sort that went on. Very difficult to do that. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else have anything? I haven't spoke yet. Anything at all?
Yes.
Go ahead.
your points are well taken, but if it continues, it's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen anyway. The points that you brought up, that he would probably ask us to pay his legal fee, because if this should ever end, it would have cost us a lot of money, maybe $4 or $5 million to get $1 million back. If we take this, it's going to go from the appellate court when we lose to the Supreme Court. And then from the Supreme Court, where? If we win, he's going to take us back to court. He's going to start at the appellate court again to appeal that. So we're going to have appeal for appeal, no matter who wins it or who loses it. And you will be paying, taxpayers, we will be paying. Now, all I did was to put the resolution up. That's all I did. I had enough nerve to do it. Nobody asked me to do it. I did it because it needed to be done. Got zillions of phone calls today from people who agreed. Okay, got one from a person who didn't. But it's going to go on, folks, and it's going to go on and on and on. All right? But Gracie Floyd will rest comfortably and peaceful. I tried.
This time, I like to, time of this resolution is not good. There are ongoing matters that need to be considered by council before consideration of a resolution of this nature. These include the Federal District Court has issued an order to show cause to Mr. Preston in the Ron Wilson Atlantic Bullion and Coin Incorporated case. Court's order requires Mr. Preston to provide the court by March 17, 2015, which is today, all written documentation and evidence as to why Mr. Preston should not be required to repay the money he acquired from illegal Ponzi schemes to the court-appointed receiver. We have not yet access to or reviewed any of these materials that Mr. Preston may have filed in this case. Court of Appeals has requested dates that attorneys are available in May for a hearing in Adams County versus Preston appeal. We have not been advised of the date in May in the Court of Appeals or whether the case. The resolution would require Adams County to withdraw its appeal in Adams County versus Preston. This would likely result in Mr. Preston filing a petition for legal fees in the circuit court that would probably be heard by Judge Couch. To further complicate the legal fee issue, Mr. Preston has filed a separate lawsuit in Richland County seeking legal fees. Therefore, taking action to withdraw the appeal will not end this matter as is suggested by this resolution and would likely result in a large award of legal fees to Mr. Preston and Adams County would have to pay. For all the reasons I have previously stated, I move that this resolution be postponed indefinitely. Put that in form of a motion.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Crowder. All in favor of the motion? Yep, yes, sir.
I got a lot of discourse out there earlier. Just so you know my stance, my proposition would be to negotiate and come up with an agreement that is agreeable to both parties. You know, I, for one, don't think we should pay Mr. Preston an additional $750,000, $1 million. But there's a point out there where it would be a wise business decision to stop this, and that's just my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed? So the motion carries. Mr. Waters, Mr. Allen, Mr. Dunn, Mr. Crowder, Ms. Wilson in favor, Mr. Cole, and Ms. Floyd opposes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Hold it down, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I want to thank those of you who came up tonight and spoke on behalf of this. You understand. You really understand. Those my colleagues who voted against it, as I said earlier, I expected it. Thank you.
Moving on, item number 11D, R 2015-015, a resolution identifying a project to satisfy the requirements of Title 12 Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina so allowed investment expenditures incurred by the company known as the county, to the county as Project Owl. Feel that's related to these qualify as expenditures eligible for the fee in lieu of an ad valorem tax arrangement with Anderson County, South Carolina, to provide for special source revenue credits to enter into any other necessary agreements with the company to effect the intent of this resolution. Mr. Burris Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. This is a continuation of Project Owl and the inducement resolution that kicks it off and defines the agreements that we'll have with them in the incentive package and as the purchase agreement on the land. This is for 49 jobs, average pay, annual payroll of $1.1 billion a year.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Crowder, and second, Ms. Wilson. Any discussion or comments or questions? First Nelson. All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
Sir, thank you for your support.
Moving on now, number 12, report from the Finance Committee. Chairman Crowder.
All right, thank you, Chairman. The Finance Committee met on March the 5th, 2015, and heard various items that was submitted by our county administrator. The first item is a full depth patch and single treatment bid to the county that was made. Is somebody in particular going to handle that, or you want me just to handle it?
Just go ahead and handle it, Mr. Crowder.
Me go ahead and handle it. All right, sir. Just a second. Let me turn the page. Oh, come on. I got it. Let me get it. All right, we had two bids. One bid for $2,500,000, other one for $2.7 million. The purchasing department recommends that we award the contract to F&R Asphalt for $2.591 million. Is that correct, Mr. Carroll?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that the Finance Committee makes a recommendation that we accept that bid.
Have a motion, Finance Committee, doesn't need a second, going to Finance Committee, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
All right, the second one was a bid for the Piedmont paving project. We received 4 bids on that project. They range from, we had Ashmore Brothers and others. The apparent successful bidder is Vineski Asphalt Company of Easley, South Carolina, in the amount of $580,653.30. Finance Committee recommends that project.
Come to Finance Committee again, doesn't need a second, or any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Floyd.
Piedmont paving project, what is the project that Piedmont's getting ready to do for that amount of money?
Mr. Hopkins?
Thank you.
They had 2 utility contractors in there for the past 2 years, tearing up the roads, putting in new sewer lines, new water lines. Part of the county's policy is that we charge a fee for anybody that's cutting in the roads. Well, those utility companies paid the county over $500,000 for the right to put their lines in the county roads. We set that money aside, and we're using that money, which they gave us, plus a little bit of C-Fund money to repave those roads now that the project is completely finished. The way it looks right now, there's trenches everywhere. They've been patched back, but it's not a nice, smooth riding surface. Their money and a little bit of C-Fund money will put that riding surface back on all these roads.
Anyone else? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on, Mr. Chairman.
All right, the grant is actually a pass-through grant from Santo Dale that passes $25,000 to Anderson County for dispersal to the cities within the county. Is that not correct, Mr. Burns? All right, so this is actually no money to us, but is
Pass through.
a pass-through from Santo Dale to municipalities in the county for parks, recreation, tourism. Finance Committee recommends that.
Coming from the Finance Committee, doesn't need a second again, or any discussion? And all in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on, Mr. Chairman.
All right, the next item is actually a group of transfers, and so that I won't be laborious, I would suggest that you read these. The Finance Committee recommends approval for those, and so if you have any questions, we'll be glad to entertain those.
Give a few minutes to look over them. If anybody's got any questions, comments, we'll try to get them answered. Hearing any? All in favor of the motion for transfers coming from Finance Committee, show of hands. Those like signs, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on, Mr. Chairman.
All right, at this time, we went into executive session to discuss personnel matters. Mr. Burns?
We need to go into executive session tonight?
No, sir, we do not. No action was taken, no action was recommended.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Now, moving on to the agenda for the March 12th meeting. At that meeting, we actually had some grants from South Carolina DHEC. Mr. Burns, would you like to go into that one?
Reader.
Yes, sir. Mr. Crowder, this is from DHEC. It's $55,000. It's a continuation from Mr. Scott Stoller, EMS. He will be buying kits, basically, in order to ensure that he is prepared in case of a disaster or, in case of an emergency.
All right. The Finance Committee recommended consideration of this item and move it to council.
Have a form of motion come from Finance Committee again. Doesn't need a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so the motion carries. Moving on.
Yes, sir. The next item is actually procurement of 3 pieces of high-tech equipment from using state Homeland Security money for the hazmat team. This is to buy a portable spectroscope, a portable mass spectrometer, and these items are very costly, but these are now portable devices that the hazmat team can go out and look at potential mass destruction incidents that might evolve in the county. Finance Committee reviewed this and makes recommendation for purchase of these items. It's money that requires no local match.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion of the Finance Committee, show of hands. Opposed, like sign. So the motion carries unanimously. Moving on, Mr. Chairman.
All right, the next item actually is not for discussion tonight, but it has included a page in your agenda package for you to be able to review individually in preparation for the upcoming budget sessions. They range everywhere from the potential of getting raises, the mandate for us to increase the cost of health insurance, mandates to increase the matching funds required by the county, for you to begin to realize the fact that we've approved approximately $5 million to give raises last year, and those raises have to be carried forward into the future year. And I could go on, but there's a full-page list of approximately 40, 50 items, and this is just for your information.
Yes, sir. Things to get things back. We appreciate that. Moving on to item C, airport transfers.
All right, airport transfer is that there's a type of aircraft that Anderson County would like to be engaged called the Cessna Caravan. It's a particular type of a Cessna aircraft that's used by businesses that move materials like UPS and what have you from low density, low utilization areas such as maybe Anderson to places like Atlanta. And those particular aircraft require specialized maintenance and upkeep in order to meet FAA specifications. Our Anderson Airport Manager and Mr. Burns and others have been doing due diligence to talk with a company who would be interested in having that maintenance done at our local airport. In order to do that, you'll notice in your packet that we have to buy one expensive piece of equipment called a borescope. And secondly, we would have to send our one of our mechanics off to receive some specialized training in that particular equipment. Finance Committee reviewed it after discussion with Mr. Burns and the airport manager, and so we hope that you will consider this.
Pretty Mr. Crowder, coming from Finance Committee again, doesn't need a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show hands. Opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the reports in record speed time.
Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 14, report from the Airport Ad Hoc Committee meeting. Chairman Allen.
All right, thank you, sir. I have a 500-page report here to go over.
If you would, I think what you want to introduce the airport manager?
Oh, Justin, would you want to? Oh, I'm sorry. The airport manager, our new airport manager, is here tonight. Justin, you want to just stand up and take a bow? And he's going to be running the airport for us. So after hearing the meeting tonight, he may change his mind. I don't know. But we wish you all success. All right. We had an airport ad hoc committee meeting last Friday, the 13th. Great day to have a meeting on. But the ad hoc committee consists of myself, Mr. Waters, and Mr. Cole, and we met with members of the airport committee to discuss a couple of things. One was either renovation of the current terminal or perhaps construction of a new terminal, and also to discuss hangar rates out there and find out what we might need to do to keep the hangars full. As we went through this discussion, let me get back to where I was here. Renovation of the building out there, it was estimated would cost somewhere around $500,000. Now, of that, it's possible to get around a $100,000 grant from the South Carolina Airport Commission. But after discussions, it was felt that a $500,000 renovation would really have little effect on the overall appearance and the amenities available at the airport, at the terminal. That's because a lot of the money would be used for such things as heating, air conditioning, ventilation, electrical, and structural repair. So the building would look essentially the same after the money had been spent as it did before. A lot of the money would, okay, I just hit that. I'm having trouble reading my handwriting here.
Got cold?
I got a terrible problem here, yeah. Okay, moving on, we discussed the aspect of a new terminal at this point, and it could be built for around $2 million with a $500,000 grant coming in from the FAA. The committee agreed this would be the best route to take in all likelihood. It was estimated that if all went well, this would be a 5-year plan to do all of this. And here's why. The first step would be to get architectural drawings for the new facility. These are necessary before we could apply for any kind of a grant from the FAA. We've got to have a set of plans. And then, after we got into that, we would have to wait in line for that grant because there's other people ahead of us. We don't know how long it might take to get that grant. If we could get it, it might take a couple of 3 years to actually become number one on the list. But with a drawing, we'd like to also visit local industries in the area, and we'd like to try and generate enthusiasm and hopefully monetary support from the major industries in the area to help us offset the rest of the cost for a new terminal. So that would take some time to do. The corporate donors would then be allowed to display their products in the terminal, as is done at a lot of larger airports. The initial design drawings would cost, I don't know, I've heard estimates every place from $30,000 to $50,000 for initial designs, but we need to nail that number down just a little bit better. And what we're currently waiting on right now we need to get a letter in writing from the full airport committee stating that this is what they would like to do. They would like to pursue a new terminal. Once we get that letter, we'll bring that before council for discussion to see what they want to do with it and see what route we might be able to take in the next budget year to come up with money for the architectural drawings. So what we discussed there's not going to be a new terminal out there tomorrow. This is going to be at least a 5-year plan, and by that time, I think we're really going to need it. So we're looking 5 years down the road. The final aspect of this was the hangar situation out there. We do have some vacant hangars out there, and we thought, why are they vacant? Why can't we get them filled up? And it's turned out it's actually, it's not any problem that we created. Our rates are right in line with everybody else. And we think what's happened there is, one, we've had a bad economy the past several years, and a lot of people gave up flying, which is an expensive hobby. We also have a lot of older folks that have quit flying. So we think that explains why we've got some empty terminals out there, and we hope that once this economy gets rolling again here, that we'll be able to fill those hangars up. And the airport committee was very satisfied, and so was our ad hoc committee, with the current rates that are being charged, and we don't think we need to adjust those any. So the big plan will be to get a letter in here from the airport committee, let council take a look at it, and we'll make a decision at that time about coming up with dollars for architectural plans. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Could I add one other thing? That kind of sounds scary, just to talk about building a new terminal. We did talk about some ways to attract businesses that are some customers that are not in this area. And there is information to back this up of where the people live that own planes, and we even have some of the information that shows in other counties. So it's not like we're looking at building a terminal just to be building one. We're actually looking at attracting some customers to support that. So we wouldn't be just building it just so we could say we have one. We would actually be paying for it with paying customers in that new type of business. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Waters. Moving on to item number 15, various boards and commissions. Mr. Waters, you have any boards or commissions appointments? Okay, Mr. Allen?
Nothing. No.
Ms. Floyd?
I don't have any.
So,
Yes, sir, I have 3 tonight. Mr. Sean McGee to the Economic Advisory Board, Mr. Bill Boatwright to the Anderson County Citizens Advisory Zoning Board, and Mr. Blake Maynard to the Accommodation Tax Board.
put that in form of a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Anything else, Ms. Cole? Thank you, Mr. Crowder.
Yes, Chairman, I have one. Mrs., Dr. Beth Harris to the Anderson County Museum Advisory Committee. I recommend that she be considered to be on this board. Just as a sideline, while Mrs. Harris can stand on her own, she is wife of Butch Harris, who is the ex-Timken plant manager out here, and also on the Tri-County Tech Foundation Board as its chairman. And so I'll make that motion, sir.
Have a second. Second, Ms. Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so motion carries unanimously. Anything else, Mr. Crowder?
No, that's all, Chairman. Thank you so much.
Ms. Wilson? District 5 has one, offer James Cooley's name to the Broadway Lake Advisory Committee. Put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. My place here, just bear with me. Now we'll be moving on to item number 16, request by council members. Before we start, I'd just like to hope everyone got any questions about the one that the Garnet Hamley True Grip Club. That is that's my understanding. There's about 25 to 30 veterans down at the Campbell Nursing Home. When they get through their check every month, some's got 30s or less than $30 a month to get by if they need a pair of bedroom shoes or coat or any kind of toiletries, anything. And this fund will be disbursed to give to those vets that need it.
So,
Just say that.
where's that fund at, Chairman?
Right here, send to Richard Campbell,
On Richard Campbell.
Garnet Hanley True Grip Club.
I got you.
Masons and Veterans.
Got that.
That.
Thank you.
So hearing that, we'll start Mr. Waters again. Mr. Waters, you got anything?
Yes, I have two. I'd like to appropriate $500 to that fund from District 6's recreation account. And can I do both of them at the same time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then I'd also like to appropriate $100 to the Outdoor Dream Foundation, and I bring that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so motion carries unanimously. Anyone else, anything else? Mr. Waters, that it? Mr. Allen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have two, and I'd like to do them together. I'm running very, very short on cash right now, so it's kind of paltry sums, but I'd like to do $100 to the Clemson Cooperative Extension Service for their 4-H activities, and I'd like to do $150 to the Richard Campbell Nursing Home to the True Grip group.
Second, Ms. Wilson, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so motion carries unanimously. Anything else, Mr.?
That's all.
Ms. Floyd?
I don't have any tonight.
Thank you. So,
None tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Crowder?
I have two, Chairman, if you please, can we do them both
Yes,
together?
sir.
I'd like to recommend $200 to the Clemson Co-op Extension Program and $500 for the Veterans Nursing Home Fund.
Thank you. I have a second, Ms. Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. Opposed, like sign, so motion carries unanimously.
No, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Wilson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This one is not in the backup, but it's a regular need, and that's the free clinic. And I would propose to appropriate the remainder of District 7's meager remaining funds to the free clinic in Honeypath. I think it's around $423 left. And I want to point out that generally District 7 appropriates funds for the Clemson Cooperative Service, but that will be after the new fiscal year, and also the Richard Campbell Garnet Hanley.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. We have a second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Allen. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Out of District 5's recreation account, I'd like to appropriate $3,000 to the Clemson Extension Service for the livestock show and $500 to the Garnet Hanley Fund for the Richard Campbell thing.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Thank y'all very much. Moving on, Administrator's report.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Administrator, moving on, citizens' comments. As Mr. Harmon calls your name, please again, you have 3 minutes. Address the chair, state your name and district.
Mr. Chairman, there are 6 citizens signed up. Frank Presley.
Thank you. Frank Presley, District 2. I'm glad to see some more thought has gone into this issue about the Joey Preston issue. Thinking heads, will prevail. If it's going to be a negotiation, he needs to give up something. We can't just throw our hands up and say, okay, we give in, just give it to us, whatever you're going to do to us. I mean, part of negotiation is him giving up something for us not pursuing it any further. And no, the appeals court can't rule on all those issues that Mr. Allen mentioned. However, we know all those issues, and time has told us what all went on back then, and we know that he was not entitled to 3 times what his contract called for. If we're going to negotiate with him, we need to go back and say, look, what your contract called for is what you need to get, not this bloated agreement that you passed through us. Now, at the beginning, I pointed out one of these transfers, and I misidentified it as 2D. It's actually 12D, and that transfer was for the paying for the shredding of forms and documents from the Treasurer and Auditor's Office. Now, it slipped through tonight, and y'all approved it. Now, I'm in the future, the argument could be made, if any litigation is brought against any one of you, the argument could well be made that by destroying these documents, you played a part in short-circuiting anybody's ability to bring the truth to light. So I would ask you again to consider putting a moratorium on destruction of county documents until all this business is dealt with. It's not something that needs to be done today. I mean, it could be done next week or next month, and it wouldn't change anything. Expecting this to happen, I today filed a FOIA request asking the county to provide me a copy of everything they plan to destroy. I feel like that'll serve two purposes. One, it'll save them $7,500 from having to destroy it. Second, they won't have to make copies of it. They can just give me the originals. So, sounds like a win-win situation to me. I'll pull a truck up and haul it off for them, and that will satisfy my FOIA request. So, Mr. Burns is probably sitting on his desk tomorrow, but this is destruction of documents is a serious issue, and it permanently, just like the agenda has the main points and then it has the backup documents. Well, these documents are the backup for the financial doings of this county. And once they're destroyed, all we have is general ledger and account numbers and numbers that are meaningless. We need the backstory, and that's what these documents are. And they should not be destroyed. They should be protected. Thank you.
Charles Crow.
The reason I was ready, I signed up and I knew that I was next. But anyway, thanks a lot, Mr. Chairman. Charles Crow from Five Forks. I started out changing tonight what I'd planned on saying, so I'm going to change my whole approach to the council in this 3 minutes. And first of all, I'd like to thank my councilman for clearly stating his point, because I'm going to be honest with you, I worried about him tonight, and I'm so proud. If you'd let me, I would have applauded for him, but you held that down. I thank Ms. Wilson for bringing up the history of how we got here. You know, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people in this room tonight apparently don't know it, don't know the things that this county went through. And we still will always pay for it. And I'm sure that Mr. Kolar, he pointed out some important things. I appreciate him coming out and saying how he felt that maybe we should at least negotiate this thing. Don't just roll over and play dead. I mean, at least get something out of it for the county. You always remember, that's what y'all are, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm telling you, you were elected to represent the county, not individuals, not me, not Joey Preston, not anybody else. You're elected to represent the county. And so please keep that in mind. But again, thanks every one of you for, I'm sure that all of you voted your own convictions. I know it was a hard vote. Remember years ago when some of y'all were still in school, I served on the city council, and I used to catch the same flack and the same hell and everything else y'all catch. And it seemed like that time ours was worse. We didn't have chairmen who said, you can't name names and you got 3 minutes. You had as much time as you wanted to run. But anyway, thanks a lot again. I'm proud of the way it turned out, and I think it turned out for the best for everybody.
Ms. Harmon.
Mark Powell.
Mark Powell, District 7. Oh, thank you. Oh, an extra $30,000, the realistic 700-something thousand. The question I have, and I've asked it many a times, you got to wonder just how much money the whale of a lawyer got paid to write the resolution tonight. You got to wonder how much money that lawyer is owed for serving the frivolous lawsuits. How much money that lawyer was charging potentially for the Monteperos, disappearing people. You got to wonder how much money that lawyer got to bill for anything that certain council members ask, certain council members request. You got to wonder if that has been added into the $700-something thousand. Because you got to know, retired school teachers don't have a lot of money to pay lawyers. But they must work for somebody, and they must be getting paid from somebody. I know there's no legal requirement for you guys to ever tell us how much you have to pay your lawyers. I know Cindy's was substantial. To fight the person that did to us what only one member sitting on that council tonight agreed to, which was more money than he deserved by a contract. So, Mr. Cole, I appreciate your fact that you want to negotiate, but they gave more money by far. The South Carolina retirement was not even in his contract. He's getting $8,000 a month. And all one can say is, oh, please God, let him have to go to jail, and I hope they quit giving him money out of my tax dollars on his retirement. I really don't know what happens to people who receive a state pension if they end up going to jail. I know that's the Ponzi scheme thing that I'm talking about. But you know, we can all pray. That would be a good thing. At least our tax dollars would quit going there. Again, thank you all for voting. I understand each one of you. Thank you, Mr. Waters, Tom, Tommy, Francis, Cindy especially. We are more sick of this as the people who have been involved in this county from the beginning than the person who shows up tonight and claimed they talked to 30 people who were against it. We've been involved day to day. We could tell you word per word exactly what Cindy told you. Why? Because we've lived it, we know it, we understand it. People who sit back and listen to what the independent news has to say, and they go, oh my God, I am so sick of spending money. They ought to stand in our shoes. If they're sick a little, we're sick millions of times more than they are. Thank you for your vote.
Mr. Harmon.
Dan Harvell.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, Dan Harvell, Council District 3. This is all about history tonight. Going back to that November 18th meeting back years ago when all this debacle took place, why in the world would we ever give a man severance when he quit? How many of us have ever quit a job voluntarily and then got paid off for quitting? I mean, the whole thing is absolutely preposterous from the beginning. Anyone that studied the tape or the DVD of that meeting, and I've seen it time after time after time, has to question the complicity, the conspiracy, the pre-planned debacle that happened that night. That was not very well played out. It kind of looked like a circus, but it happened. I don't understand how people can accept that. If we're so upset about legal fees in this county, okay, we're up to $3 million. Ms. Wilson sat there for years questioning why this administrator found a way to involve this county in about $1 million of legal fees per year that she couldn't get accounting for, that there was no reasonable explanation for. Where was everybody then when the millions was being spent on those legal fees? I guarantee you it totaled a whole lot more than $3 million. So we have to think about the fact that what we would have been spending actually had the man still been here. But we elected a council that was willing to take the bull by the horns and deal with some of the things the Daniel report showed us and revealed to us. And it was a good thing. It was something that had to be done. Who was complaining about the roads not being fixed, not being built, the bridges not being repaired during that period of time when Ms. Wilson was hawking as loud as she could to say we're not spending money on roads, we're not maintaining our infrastructure that is our base obligation other than law enforcement for our county citizens? Where were these people then? What is the price of justice? If we're willing to suspend this justice, then why don't we just save the county a lot of money, suspend the justice system in the county and spend all that on roads for about a year? That would fix everything, wouldn't it? But no, we're not going to do that because justice is worth everything that's been spent on it. We're a nation of laws. We need to abide by those laws.
and Anderson County is no exception. Due process needs to be played out, and the right thing was done tonight. And as Republican chairman, I am proud of our Republicans tonight. Thank you very much.
Tom, next.
Denny Floyd.
Mr. Floyd's left. Mr. Floyd's left the building.
Elizabeth Fant.
Fant.
Sometimes I come off pretty strong. That's my nature, to stand up for the things that I believe in. Today is March the 17th. Everybody thinks they know the day. Today is St. Patrick's Day. But today is also another anniversary. It's an anniversary of my mother's death. Mr. Waters, I used to work in your district as a teacher. Back many years ago when my mother died, she died on March the 17th. And at the end of the year, when school was out, I went up to help my dad help deal with the situation and get him established. I was a media specialist, and so I had to work 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. So for that 3 months, all the stuff that happened, and even into September, I just put in a big brown envelope and kept it. When school got started back, I started going through to do my usual filing and so forth, and I looked at my receipts and I said, I think I've gotten an extra check from the school district. Okay, Mr. Cole, I mentioned to you and the whole council about character, conviction, and courage. I live by those three things. Most of you out here, you don't really know me. You just think you do. But I believe in doing the right thing. I took those records to my principal and I said, I think I've been overpaid a month. He said, no, you haven't. And he looked at me like he thought I was nuts. And I said, yes, I think I have. I took it to the school superintendent. And indeed, I had been paid, overpaid. I didn't have to do that. I could have been dishonest. I could have kept that money. I could have never said a word. Who would have known? I would have known, and he would have known. And that's another reason why this case is so important to Anderson County, because there has been so much stolen from Anderson County. Not only physical funds, but also our hearts and what we propose and what we hope to be as a just, good government and a county that we can be proud of. I'm proud of you all tonight. I'm proud of you, Mr. Cole, for speaking up and telling, what your viewpoint is. You're a new kid on the block. Nobody knows anything much about you except for, what you proposed in the Republican meetings, and of course you got jumped down your throat right then. So we need to hear from you, and we need to know what your philosophy is. But rewarding injustice and rewarding crookedness is never a good thing. And I believe in my heart that people need to be honest. And if we're really honest about Anderson County, we know that there's been a lot that has happened here that should not have happened, and I appreciate it.
Time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
That's all the folks signed up.
Thank you. Be moving on to remarks from council members. Ms. Wilk.
To thank you, and also to remind everyone that we have our Planning and Public Works Committee meeting Thursday at 1, and we'll take on some more of the comprehensive plan and the road reclassification, some of the other issues. And everyone's welcome to come. Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Wilson. Crowder.
I have none, Chairman.
Go.
Just a quick comment. Had a good meeting with the solid waste people today, and we're planning on a solid waste, a litter conference coming up real soon. We'll get a lot more information out about that. But anybody you talk to them about let's clean up our county and keep it clean. If you see somebody throwing trash out, get word to the solid waste department. They'll handle it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Floyd.
If you really want to know what happened way back then. Look it up for yourselves. All right, find out for yourself. Don't believe everything somebody tells you. Okay, look it up for yourself. A lot of half-truths and untruths were said here tonight. But look it up for yourself. Thank you to the man who said that a lawyer, he wondered how much a lawyer charged to do that resolution for me. I did it myself. I thank you for that, for thinking that it was a lawyer doing it. But I have the education to do that myself. I don't have to pay anybody to do things for me, but I sure do appreciate the compliment. I did it myself, and it can be proven that I did it myself. Mr. Cole, you said that we should look at negotiating. All right, that sounds like a good idea. All right, when you first came on, you were talking about that. Of course, I got sidetracked with your quote in the newspaper. But I'm looking for you in the next couple of weeks to propose something where we can negotiate to stop this madness. If you think negotiating was going to do it, then I'm looking for the leadership to come from you. Not 6 months from now, but as you promised in your campaign soon. Okay. Everything that I have done from November the 8th until this day, no. Let's go back further. Everything that I have done on council from the time I have been elected, I stand by. I have made mistakes, and I have owned up to my mistakes. I would not do anything differently tonight or November the 8th or from the time that I got here. I am not one who will go along with people just to get along with them. I wasn't elected to get along. I was elected to make a difference, and I believe I have done that. To my distractors, you can do better. You can do better. As far as my praying, that I think the lady said, I don't close my eyes when I pray. I'm looking all around the audience. How does she know that? If her eyes aren't closed either. So I guess we're just looking around the audience together, you know. But, you know, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks. I know my God, and he knows me. And there's some things that are happening on council that I'm not pleased with. Several times I have had the floor snatched away from me when I have gotten it according to Robert's rules. But we're working on that. I will be working on that one. And about the vote tonight, I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed. I just want you to know that I am not disappointed at all. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Allen?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Waters.
Yeah, just a couple of things. One of the things I think is very important that we need to mention tonight that we don't miss what we come here for. This council has worked together with the staff and the employees of Anderson County to do a very good job in a lot of things. You saw where we use the Civic Center for the ROTC. Looking forward to the school using that a lot more. That's a very good thing. I like seeing those kids do that, and some of us have the same waist size. And anyway, they do a good job at that. Looking forward to that. The next thing, the jobs. I noticed we did pass that paper back, and I believe that you'll find that that's good information that you did see there. And we're looking at right around 200 jobs. These are good paying jobs that have health benefits. That's exactly what we need, and this council's done a very good job working with our economic development. Our economic development has received an award for doing that. And so That's one of the main things that I really want people to not miss is the good stuff that's been done here, and especially tonight with these jobs. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that, and that's all I have.
Appreciate it, Mr. Waters. Just want to say a few quick words, though. I'll start off with, I want to say, appreciate each and every one of the council members, and I wish everybody would think before they speak, because there have been a lot of mistruths said here tonight. Or just, when I say mistruths, I mean it's not exactly factual. You know, they say just enough the facts, but not in detail or whatnot. Get it down. And you need to look at it and know the facts, and I ask somebody to do a little research, got some questions. One thing for sure I do know, making innuendo because a picture is taken from somebody is just wrong. I've known Mr. Cole now just for a very short time, but I found him to be nothing but very ethical. And I look forward to working with Mr. Cole. It's been nothing. We're not going to always, I tell everybody this, we're not going to always agree. And I don't take it personal and get mad when we don't. Everybody's got a right. They got their conviction, what they got to do, they think is right. And I've found Mr. Cole to be very honest since I've met him, and look forward to working with him. We've got great ideas, just like this cleanup thing. Looking forward to it. Know that. Then I want to just say, got lady of the Chamber of Commerce here, stand up and take a bow. We appreciate what all the Chamber of Commerce is doing, what you've done for us. Look forward to working with you. Any way we can help you, let us know, and all our things. Thank you very much for being here. I want to thank the administrator, his staff, the whole Anderson County staff for what all they're doing for economic development, because that's what we've got to do. We've got to grow ourselves out of this thing we're in. We've got a good start of that. We want to hope into it. And if people's got questions, you can sit here and make all the snide comments about this and that, and I know you think some of us just up here bump on logs and stupid, but if you got a question and you really want to know the answer to it, ask the council members before the meeting. We can answer that. We've got a set of rules and guidelines we have to go by, ordinances in this book. It's not a question and answer period to come here. Be glad to answer any question I can if anybody. I'll try. I'm not the smartest person, but I'll try to give them the answers. The gentleman here tonight about the airport thing, you know all about it. This thing's been going on. This council voted to condemn some properties about 6 months ago better. I was one of the council members that voted against that for certain reasons. The gentleman hasn't contacted me. I'd love to sit down and talk to him and find out what his thing about. I've always said you can't fix a problem if you don't know there is one. You must know that's something I'd love to get it. To be reasonable, though, to get about it. But as far as wanting to shut down the airport, I mean, y'all think y'all want to shut down the airport for Anderson County? What it got to be like? I do want to address one thing, because just a little front punch. You made the statement, we wouldn't change. I wouldn't swap my house for his. No, I wouldn't. I chose to build my house where I wanted to build it. I could have built it just about anywhere I wanted to, but I chose to live where I want to live it, and be happy there. Very happy in the community I'm in. Was born and raised there, and good Lord's will, that's where I'll die. So that's the reason I didn't choose to swap with him. But the airport's been out there for many, many years, and it's going to, as Mr. Allen said earlier in his statement, I hope it grows. We need to have a viable airport, to have a viable community. We've got to. Thank y'all very much. God bless y'all, and this meeting be dismissed.
Hopefully it'll be a quickie.
Hey. Whoa, Rusty.
Steve.
Hey.